an influential leader, an entrepreneur, a mentor whose company is mentoring the next generation of entrepreneurs. Let's jump into the conversation with Susan Springsteen. Get Shit Done in a Flash, a mini-series presented by the GST Factor podcast. Hear from incredible leaders, entrepreneurs, investors, trailblazers, individuals that are influencing and changing the conversations in episodes that are no longer than 7 minutes long. Let's continue to step into our extraordinary and get shit done in a flash.
I am a serial tech entrepreneur, and like most entrepreneurs, my path to entrepreneurship was not a straight one. Long story short, we ended up discovering that there's a huge problem with tank toilets leaking, running, and overflowing. And a lot of the water wasting problems with toilets, property owners have no idea. They can't tell. And so we developed an electronic device that can diagnose, alert, and quantify all the types of water waste through tank toilets that can run up a water and sewer bill and waste a lot of water. We developed this device and ended up forming a company around it and spinning it off of End Solutions, H2O Connected. And first of all, we always have our eyes open. We're looking for opportunity. Sometimes it comes from people asking us questions. Sometimes it comes from our clients. We'll have inventors come in here that'll have a crude prototype or have a concept on a napkin. We have a vertically integrated company. So we can take something from concept on a napkin all the way through to protecting it with intellectual property, product development, optimizing it for manufacturing, and then ready for distribution. But we always start with the market, because a typical thing that happens is somebody comes up with a great idea, but the idea may be great just for a niche. So if you're going to put in the personal time, the personal cost, and the financial cost of actually developing something and building a business around it, you need to make sure that the market is large enough and the profit margin is there over a tier or two tiers of distribution so that it's worth the return. So we start with market study and we really look at who is the ideal customer, what will they pay for it, who are the competitors. A great source of due diligence if you're thinking about developing a product is go on Amazon and look at something that's the closest thing to what you want to develop and read the 1-star reviews. You'll find what people hate about the current way they solve that pain point. And you can see, can I solve that problem? And so what does it take for me to not get those 1-star reviews? Finding where the flaws are in the current problem you're trying to solve can really give you a leg up. So that's just an example. On the patent side, first thing you need to decide is, does it make sense to patent it or not? In order to patent something, it has to be what the patent office calls unique and non-obvious. And it means that somebody who is familiar with they call it the art, but the technology group that you're in wouldn't already have thought of it, even if they didn't patent it. It's like a chess match. There's a very specific strategy that you use when filing a patent. They're all different types. There are ways of extending the protection. You need to tell a story. Sometimes it makes sense to file a patent. Sometimes it doesn't. With software and other things, sometimes it makes sense to just keep it as a trade secret. For a trade secret, it's yours for life as long as somebody doesn't pirate it. Nobody talks. So if you think of, for instance, the recipe for Coca-Cola, that was never patented. It's kept in a vault. It's always kept as a trade secret and only a few people really know it. And so that intellectual property can belong to Coke forever because it's never going to be out in the public domain unless somebody squeals. So there's a lot of times that you keep things as trade secrets. So it's trying to decide. And you have to also know if you file a patent, if somebody infringes, are you going to defend it? That can be expensive. There's just a lot of questions. We have 30 U.S. patents that have been issued over the last 15 years, but a lot of them we're issuing now, probably 3 or 4 a year. And we have probably 30 international patents as well. That's another question. Do you patent it just in the United States? Do you do it outside the United States? Is it worth it? Interesting fun fact, only 3% of issued patents actually generate revenue. Most of them don't generate revenue. Now, ours do, because we don't bother unless we think it's going to be a revenue-generating technology. We don't just have patents just to have them hang on a wall. It's something you need to have good advice And it has to be beyond legal advice. If they're going to be have value, then they need to be created for that value, and that takes a strategy. It's building the tangible value, and that goes far beyond just the legal aspect. I know that one of the themes that you've been talking about for this year is going into your extraordinary. I think in order to really do that, it can't be about you. It can't be about us. You're not going to be really extraordinary unless you're doing something larger than yourself. That's just my value system. Part of that is paying it forward and sowing into the next generation. And we have a high school STEM and marketing internship program here where we work with 9 different high schools. We've been doing it about 10 years, so probably 120, 130 students have gone through the program. They are so tightly working with our professionals. A lot of them end up as named inventors on our patents that issue. They actually do contribute to the inventive process. We teach them to fail. We put them in situations where they have to fail because it's something you got to learn in life. You got to learn how to deal with failure. And product development is 99% failure until you get it right. They're learning how to critically think. They're learning confidence. They're learning resilience. Nothing worth doing is easy, whether it's a relationship or whether it's a business or whether it's raising kids or whether it's a world-class athletic endeavor, whatever is your why, it's never going to be easy. It's going to take everything you have. So I think a lot of that, I just dial back to my worldview. I love the quote by Mark Twain. It says, "The 2 most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you found out why." And I think that why enables you to really get stuff done.
Thank you for listening to Get Shit Done in a Flash, a mini-series by the GST Factor podcast. Are you an influential leader that has a dream to write a book and put your words out into the world? Reach out to us today so we can help make your book dream a reality. Let's get